Thank you so much for joining us back here at 360 Sports and for tuning in to our Frenzy show tonight. I'm your host, Kylie Smith. Here beside me, we have Moss, Peyton, and Fernando. So we're going to get right into our headlines today, talking about the WNBA champions. So the New York Liberty beat the Lynx in 5 games, with Jonquel Jones being named the Finals MVP. I want to know what your guys' thoughts are on the season, the teams, the matchup.
Yeah, well, it was our first finals in WNBA history, and I tell you what a time to be in New York if you're for championships. You got the Yankees, you got the Liberty. Sadly, the Jets, Giants are doing not too good in the Knicks kind of loss. But we're talking about WNBA here. First championship in team history. They had 2 great stars, Sabrina Ionescu, probably the best shooter ever in the sport, and Breanna Stewart, who they signed, I think, a few years ago. And they were here to deliver a championship, and that's exactly what they did.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was some awesome WNBA finals. It was awesome to see that they went to 5 games, which is the most that you can do, best out of 5. I think the better team won, which was their Liberty, despite the fact that there was a controversial foul at the end of Game 5. But at the end of the day, they deserved to win it. They had the better players, Ionescu and Brennan Stewart, and I'm happy to see that the WNBA is getting a bigger spotlight. Yeah, as you can say that it was Caitlin Clark and that brought that on, but it's good to see that these women are getting more recognition.
Yeah, it was a very exciting season. I am from New York, so I was definitely rooting for them. You know, they came up short last year to the Aces, so it was nice to see them win against them this year. And the Lynx were looking to become the team with the most finals wins in league history, and it was probably the most exciting finals, at least the most exciting finals I've watched in WNBA history. You know, all the games ended very, very exciting, except Game 2. You know, Game 1, the Lynx won in overtime. Game 3, Sabrina had their game-winning 3. Game 4, Carlton had the game-winning free throws. And then Game 5, first ever overtime winner-take-all in finals history. And there was that controversial call, but, you know, that led to the overtime. But, you know, I think the X factor was Jones. That she won Finals MVP, 17 points, and you know, the rest of the team, 49 points. You know, very good performance. You know, Breanna and Sabrina combined for only 18 points. Sabrina only had 1 3 out of the 10 attempts that she had. Breanna did have 15 rebounds and 13 points, but it was very exciting to see them win. You know, first in franchise history. So I think it was very cool to watch.
I agree. I think honestly, there was a new person kind of starring in each one of the games. But I think what really gave the Liberty the edge was their height on defense. They had someone at 6'1", 6'4", 6'5", 6'6", and the shortest at 5'11". It helped them with their rebound game like massively. And on the Lynx, I believe their tallest player is 5'5". She didn't even start. So I think that was a major factor in that championship.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch next season when Caitlin Clark comes back. So we'll see how it goes next season.
Definitely. I feel like they're adding a lot of people with Paige Beckers, too, coming back out of college. All right, we're going to stick with basketball here, but move on to the NBA. It officially kicked off last night with 2 marquee matchups with playoff teams from last year. The Celtics and Knicks squared off to begin the doubleheader, with the Celtics appearing to not miss a beat off of last year's championship run. While the Lakers and Timberwolves followed, the Lakers held the T-Wolves thanks to a huge second quarter. Between the 2 most historically relevant and successful franchises in the sport, what are your guys' takeaways from their opening night wins?
I know it's opening day, but I think the Celtics are going to go back-to-back. I mean, this team, what they were able to do last season, I feel like it's kind of cheating. I mean, they signed Drew Holiday, one of the best defenders in the league. They signed White, one of their better players, and they still have Tatum and Jaylen Brown locked up. Tatum had 37 points last game. One of his kind of biggest things was he kind of compliments Jaylen Brown. He's not like that leader, and he's shown this year that as of right now that he's like that guy right now. 37 points. Jaylen Brown had 23. I mean, this team looks unstoppable even though it's game 1.
No, I agree with you. This Celtics team is really, really good. The 3-point is amazing. They destroyed this Knicks on that. Also, I want to talk about the Lakers and Timberwolves game. This picture is my biggest takeaway. We saw history happen last night. If you told me that a father-son duo was going to be playing in an NBA game at some point, I would have told you you're crazy. But yesterday we saw that with LeBron and his son, Bronny. It was awesome to see. Even though it was 2 minutes, it was so awesome to see that history play out. And then also, like, I want to talk about the Knicks and the Timberwolves a little bit. That trade, as watching the games yesterday, it made me realize that the Knicks and Timberwolves will take some time to get used to their new personnel. You could tell that, like, they weren't on the same page. Like, they were still trying to find their chemistry. So we'll see how these two teams get better as time goes on.
Yeah, the Celtics, they start right where they left off. Tatum had 37, White had 24, and Brown had 23. They combined for 84 points. And you add 3 to that, 87 points. That's a number of threes that they score, 29. Matches an NBA record. They could have broken it, but
they had like, what, 8
they
minutes?
missed like 13 in a row.
Yeah.
And, the Knicks, it doesn't define their season. Obviously, like you said, they're going to have to get used to the trades that they made, bringing in McHale and bringing in Karl Anthony Towns, losing Randall and losing DiVincenzo. Sad to see the Nova Knicks isn't as complete as it was, but, the Celtics just outplayed them. And the Lakers, they had a strong home win. J.J. Redick's first win in the NBA. 80, outstanding performance, 36 points, 16 rebounds. Good moment to see LeBron and Bronny getting his first minutes, seeing them play together. The last time that I remember seeing a father-son duo was when Ken Griffey had that fly ball go into center field, and Ken Griffey Jr. kind of just robbed him.
They were at that game, by the way.
Yeah, they were. They took a picture at the end.
Yeah, and then, sad to see Rob Dillingham, Luke Garza not play. Those guys, Luke Garza, one of the best players in the G League, coming up, and then Rob Dillingham, technically Bronny does have more minutes than him, which is a weird stat. But, Anthony Edwards kept it a close game, but, Lakers, strong win, and Celtics, they could definitely go back-to-back. You can see it happening.
I also want to say, like, even though this moment defines the game, we have to talk about Anthony Davis. He played amazing. He was the reason why the Lakers won that game. So Davis will be a huge catalyst for this team, and it will be interesting to see if he can stay healthy. Even though he shrugged off that last year and answered those questions, it'll still be interesting to see if he can stay healthy.
Yeah, the biggest thing Davis needs to do is stay healthy. I mean, that's his biggest flaw right now with 36 points, 16 boards. I think I can't remember this. I think he took a shot towards Rudy Gobert. I think he had 2 clutch blocks coming down, and he said that's what defensive player of the year type thing, kind of taking a shot at Rudy Gobert. In my opinion, it should have been Victor Wembanyama last year, but I mean, Rudy Gobert is a great defender. But yeah, this Lakers team is looking good right now.
So talking about injuries, the Sixers season begins tonight against the Bucks. But they'll be without 2 huge members of their new Big Three, with Joel Embiid and Paul George were announced to be out. Late last week, news was also broken that Kawhi Leonard would be out indefinitely with more knee issues. As the controversy continues to grow, how has the issues of load management changed the landscape of the NBA? And are we in for another year of stars missing from the court due to injuries?
Yeah, well, here's the thing. We saw last year they made that rule where, you play 60. You have to play 60 games to be qualified for awards, and then this year Embiid signs that $60 million plus contract, and then a couple days later it comes out that he's not playing back-to-back games. And now he's not playing game 1. I mean, the thing with the Sixers is, they're going to win and they're going to lose with Embiid, obviously because he's their best player, but, if he can't stay healthy, this team, it's not that good. I like Maxey. He's a great player, but I don't know if he can carry the Sixers without without Embiid right now. I'll
say this, this will keep being an issue until the NBA reduces the number of games in the schedule. 82, in my opinion, is a lot of games, and I just feel like this will keep being trend until there's a change, and I do think that we are in for another year where stars will not play that much, and I also want to mention. How does Kawhi Leonard not stay healthy for once in his life? This guy's always hurt. He's hurt during the regular season. He's hurt during the playoffs. Now we're hearing again that he's hurt. Come on, man. How hard is it to be healthy? I can't believe I'm saying this. He should retire.
Yeah, it's pretty much saying there's the 3 guaranteed things in life: death, taxes, and Kawhi Leonard being injured. It's it happens all the time. But load management has become a big controversy. Remember 2 years ago when the Mavericks, the last game of the season, they played the Bulls and they didn't play a lot of their stars and they lost that game and then they ended up missing the playoffs. And I think the NBA are considering investigating, the Sixers and how Embiid didn't play any games in the preseason and now he's not even playing in game 1. So it has, a lot of stars, a lot of these games, and we're seeing it in a lot of sports too, just players, due to the number of games that they're playing, them becoming injured, MLB, Acuna got towards ACL, just now in the NFL, Brennan Ayuk. I mean, it's not as many games, but, he just tore his ACL. Load management is becoming a big issue, and a lot of the stars in these big leagues are becoming injured, and it's definitely big thing.
And you mentioned MLB. I mean, this is a problem with all of sports. You got the NFL even saying we want player safety. You want the best players on the field at all times. That's an obvious. But then in a combat to that, Roger Goodell goes, I think let's have 18 games, but let's not have 2 bye weeks. In the NBA, you have that 60-game minimum. You should probably shorten the season, get these players going. The MLB, you should think about shortening the season. Now, Acuna's injury in an MLB is less likely than like an ACL tear in baseball is not as likely. But for pitchers, even like the UCL injuries, they like these sports need to figure out, they need to like lower these seasons because we want to see the best players available, but when they're hurt every year, you can't do that, and maybe they're just playing too many games.
Can we also talk about in this subject in soccer, like we're seeing in soccer too that like the players are playing so many games and it's causing so many injuries, like ACLs, like fatigue. Like these players are playing so much, and now like they're playing a cup. Now they can't even get a break during the summer, and they have to keep playing. Like these players need a break. Like it's too much for them. It's too much work. Like I understand as a fan you want to keep watching them play, but it's not fair to the players for that, and they deserve breaks because they're bringing entertainment to us. Like we're not the ones who deserve to tell them what they should do.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Also, I feel like at least in soccer and some of these other sports, the athletes are getting younger and younger. Like these people are coming in at 15, 16 years old. We need to protect like the young athletes, and if that means shortening seasons, I feel like it's all for the best.
I agree.
All right, we're going to move on to a subject we've all been waiting to talk about, the World Series. So the Fall Classic is back this Friday night. The Dodgers will host the Yankees in a World Series building up to be one of the best of all time, potentially, with 34 World Series titles between both of them combined. One will be adding another trophy to the cabinet. So what we're going to do, we're going to pick our winner and tell us who we think their X factor is for the winning team and why.
All right, I think I'm first. I honestly can't believe I'm saying this, but the Yankees are in the World Series. I'm probably the happiest person in the world about this because I've been watching the Yankees since my whole life, ever since Jeter. My X factor going into this is Gleyber Torres. This guy has been phenomenal in the leadoff spot. Most Yankees fans I see on Twitter are like, we should like get him out of here. Like, what is he doing? He's batting .297 average, 400 on base. I think 832 OPS. And when you are batting in front of Juan Soto, Aaron Judge, and playoff Stanton, the pressure is up here right now, and he is performing at a huge level. He is the reason why the Yankees are dominating these series right now. So my X factor is Gleyber Torres.
I like that pick, to be honest with you. Like, you can't just focus on the stars, which is Aaron Judge, Juan Soto, and like the threesome of Ohtani, Freddie Freeman, and also Mookie Betts. So I like that you're talking about a guy who like we don't talk about that much. All right, so it's my turn. This World Series kills me. I don't like both teams, to be honest with you. And I said the Dodgers will win this series, and my X factor is Tommy Edman. This guy, he won the NLCS MVP for the team. He was the X factor in that Mets series. He drove in 12 RBIs in that game. And then also, like I said, you can't focus on the stars. You got to focus on the guy who can make the impact on the team, and that was Tommy Edman on the Dodgers in that series. He also hit 1 home run. He's very great he's a great defender as a shortstop, and he brings versatility to the team. So if the Dodgers are going to pull off this win, they need Tommy Edman to be as good as he was in that NLCS.
I mean, yeah, this guy. I mean, what a year he's having. He was picked up by the Dodgers right before like this postseason push, and didn't expect him to do much. And now that the Dodgers have an NLCS MVP in Tommy Edman with Freeman, Betts, and Ohtani, I mean, that lineup is deep.
All right, it's my turn. So for my X factor, I'm a Yankee fan. I'm going to have to go with, there's a reason he won ALCS MVP. It's Big G. I mean, he only had 4 hits in the ALCS, but all of them were home runs. He drove in 7 runs, and he had 16 total bases. I mean, watching, I didn't really get to see his at-bat, but watching those at-bats versus Class A, I mean, the whole year, it was based off of Class A being this unbelievable pitcher, even being a possible Cy Young winner candidate. And I mean, if there's a clip of Austin Hedges having that interview where he said that Clase was the best pitcher he's ever caught and better than Mariano Rivera, which I don't know what he was on, but I mean, he gave up 2 home runs in just 2 at-bats, and that's what Mariano Rivera gave up in 140 postseason innings. So, I mean, he got it done. You know, even though his average was only 222, I mean, he's still the main man, got the main runs. And the only game he didn't homer in was Game 2, but that's when Judge hit that 2 home run, and that's why Judge, you know, that's what sparked Judge, and that's why I think Big G, he's my big X factor.
That's a good choice. I mean, when I was watching the games, he was the one who stepped up, who gave that driven force and started that comeback for the Yankees every time they were down against the Guardians. So I really do think that if the Yankees are going to win, he's going to have to be that guy. And also, like, he's proven that he shows up in October. So.
Yeah, I'm sure. I don't have to tell you this because you probably watch most of these games. His at bats are so much better. He's seeing every pitch. He's not swinging at the low and outside curveball, sliders. The pitch at 45 feet off the plate, he is locking in, and everything he hits, he just crushes. So that's a great pick.
All right, I like the take. I'm going to disagree. I'm going with the Yankees for the World Series win, and my X factor is Max Muncy. Now, he's the third baseman for the Dodgers, but in the last series against the Mets, he actually had to fill in at first base for Friedman because he was out on injury. And he did an exceptional job there. He's been hitting, honestly, similar numbers to Ohtani. He doesn't have that big contract. He doesn't have all the spotlight on him, but he's doing a great job. And I think just in the postseason series against the Mets, he got to base 17 times, which is a record, I think. He might share it with Ohtani, but he's definitely doing a great job. He's got the experience, and I think behind Ohtani and Betts, they're going to need someone else to push them forward past the Yankees, and I think Max Muncy can be the guy.
I like the pick.
You mentioned Freeman. He's been battling an ankle injury now, and like if he can't get going, that's going to be a huge loss for the Dodgers because we all know Freeman has that experience. He's an MVP winner. He won a World Series with the Braves, and Max Muncy, he's a stud.
Yeah. I think it's crazy we have 5 former MVPs playing in this series.
Oh yeah, and then Soto looks like he's going to be a future MVP at some point.
Yeah.
So possibly 6, and this is going to be a great World Series.
This is going to be great.
I agree. Okay. We can't stay away from football for too long, so let's talk about the Chiefs. Early this morning, Adam Schefter broke the news that the Chiefs and Titans were finalizing a trade for DeAndre Hopkins, in which the 5-time Pro Bowl wide receiver would land on the back-to-back Super Bowl champions. And although Patrick Mahomes hasn't been playing his best football, he's off to his best start record-wise of his career. Now, the Chiefs are just adding a new shiny weapon. How do you guys think this addition will change the Chiefs' offense? And how does it virtually cement the Chiefs as the first three-peat in the Super Bowl era?
Yeah, I swear the Chiefs are like playing Madden franchise, but like reverse way. So like last year they had that Chris Jones debacle where like he sat out 3 games, and then like who's gonna pay him? And then they pay him, win the Super Bowl, and now this year they seem like they're like playing defense and then simming through the offense. And now they finally made a Madden franchise trade where they get DeAndre Hopkins. People forget like. He still has it. This guy had 1,000 yards last year and 1,400 yards in 2020. Like DeAndre Hopkins still has it. It's going to be a great addition for the Chiefs, and just sucks how they keep on getting good and how they are 6-0 when Patrick Mahomes has 6 touchdown passes and 8 interceptions to them this year. I mean, I don't know how that's possible, but.
To go off on that, I agree with you. This addition just makes the team much more dangerous than they already are. It's a great replacement to the injury of Rashee Rice, and you said it yourself. DeAndre Hopkins is still a great receiver. I know he didn't play well with the Titans, but let's look at the quarterbacks he played with. He played with Ryan Tannehill. He was playing with one of the most funny quarterbacks I've ever seen in my life, in Will Levis. Have you seen the throws he's made? That
guy's a goofball.
Exactly, he's a goofball. So you can't just judge him off the struggles at Tennessee. You still gotta look at what he did on the Texans, the Cardinals. So he's still that great. But I'll say this. I still don't think this cements them as the first three-peat. We've seen this. They're still not three-peat. There's a reason why. It's really, really hard. I understand they got better. They're unbeaten. But they still haven't been playing well, let's be honest. And it's important that they clean up their play before the playoffs because I think it will cost them at some point in the playoffs against teams like the Ravens. The Ravens are playing much more better since the first 2 losses. And if they go with their game plan, which is run the ball, I really do think they'll beat the Chiefs this time.
Yeah, obviously they lost Rasheed Rice, they lost Marquise Brown, and then once they lost Juju, Andy Reid kind of teased a big move after his injury, and they got Hopkins. I woke up a little bit late today, so I actually had no idea that he went to the Chiefs until I woke up. But it definitely helps them getting them. Mahomes and Kelsey haven't had their best season, so it's definitely good for them. Being paired with Worthy, fastest man in combine history, and McCole Hardman, who had that game-winning touchdown in the Super Bowl. And is definitely probably most likely their best receiver since Tyreek Hill. And it definitely increases their chances. I don't know. I can't guarantee them three-peat. Remember last year where the Eagles, had this unbelievable start and then they just lost
exactly
pretty much the rest of their games at the end of the season. That could definitely happen with the Chiefs, especially with the struggles that they've had. But, it's definitely a big move for them. Definitely, I would say it definitely increases their chances. But,
Yeah. And I just want to say I'm happy he got out of Tennessee. Let's just name some receivers real quick. Andre Johnson, Julio Jones, A.J. Brown to an extent. He was young, whatever. And now it's looking like Calvin Ridley. Oh, and I forgot Randy Moss. All these receivers, when they went to Tennessee, their career kind of just, everybody forgot about them. And now DeAndre Hopkins is almost the next victim, so I'm happy he got out of there. And maybe he finally gets the ring that he deserves.
This is the best opportunity to rejuvenate his career. Because people kind of forgot about him, let's be honest. And also, when Calvin Ridley signed with the Tennessee Titans, people started to assume he was the number 1 guy at Tennessee. So for Hopkins, he wasn't used to being that second guy. So this is a great opportunity for him to restart his career.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's get some Thursday night football predictions.
If the Chiefs don't win it, who would you pick to win?
I'm going to go with the Bengals. I can't pick against my team. So
I said the Ravens, like I said it before, they have such a great running game. Derrick Henry is on that team now. You saw how good he is for that team.
I'm going to have to go the Lions, honestly. They just beat the undefeated team in the Vikings, but, I really like Dan Campbell. So
Yeah, I mentioned, obviously, Cincinnati's on the outside looking in right now, it's been a struggle this year. I'm sorry for myself, even though I probably shouldn't be. It's been a struggle. I'm sure all my friends like to see me complain about Cincinnati, but I am going to have to agree with you. The Lions right now, I just wrote an article about this. I think they're the best team in the NFL. That offensive line is hands down the best offensive line in the league. Amon-Ra St. Brown, they have him locked up. It's about time before he starts getting going. We all know David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs probably the best running back duo in the league. And here's another thing. Jared Goff has an 88% completion percentage this year. That's insane. And the defense is looking great. They traded for Davis, second-round pick, Taron Arnold, their first-round pick. That defense is looking phenomenal, and I think they're the best team in the league, roster-wise and pretty much any way you look at it.
I was thinking the Lions too, but I just thought about the fact that they lost Aiden Hutchinson. I feel that was their star defender on their defense, and I feel like it's going to come to impact them in the playoffs.
Well, there are some big name edge rushers at trade. You got Myles Garrett, which I hope he gets out of Cleveland. Please get out of Cleveland. Max Crosby, he's on the one, but Max Crosby, we all know you want to go to Cincinnati because why wouldn't you? Another team. I can't pick the Ravens. I just can't do it. I like that pick, but I just can't pick the Ravens just because.
Also, let's not forget, if he gets out of the AFC, he owns the NFC. He's only lost one time against the NFC.
That is true.
And funny thing, it was against Daniel Jones.
Did you see the stat about how more hockey players have more points at MetLife than Daniel Jones has since last year?
Saquon Barkley has the same amount of touchdowns than Daniel Jones this year at MetLife, and he only played one game at MetLife this year. The Giants.
I need someone to figure out how Daniel Jones got paid. I just need to know.
He won a playoff game. If you win a playoff game in your rookie contract, $40 million straight to the bank.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it'd be fun to see.
All right, Thursday night football. The Vikings are traveling out west to take on the Rams at SoFi Stadium. And the Rams are finally getting their star receiver back, Puka Nacua, back. And the Vikings are coming off their first loss of the year. Who do you have taking the win, and what do you think the final score will be?
I have the Vikings winning this game. They had the Lions last week where they wanted to. I mean, they had their defense on the field to go make a play when they had to, but they just simply didn't. Lions, I think they kicked, what, a 58-yarder? 57?
I think it was shorter, to be honest.
Whatever it was a game-winning field goal attempt. This team is looking good. I'm going to go with the Vikings. Jefferson's still the best receiver in the league. And Rams, they haven't found their identity just yet.
I'm actually going to disagree with you. I'm going with the upset, and I think the Rams win this game. The Vikings are coming off a heartbreaking loss over the Detroit Lions. They are on a short rest, and I think like the travel from Minnesota to LA in such a short amount of time, it will come back to bite them. So, and also the Rams are coming off a home win against the Raiders. So they get the benefit of staying home. They will get Cooper Kupp back, and even though they're like 2-5 or the Rams, I still think this team is really good. They have the better quarterback in Matthew Stafford. Like I said, Cooper Kupp's coming back. And they made the playoffs last year. They have a great coach in Sean McVay. So for that reason, I do think the Rams will pull off the upset.
I have the Vikings winning 36-19. I just love how Sam Darnold, he got out of San Francisco and now he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. The duo with him and Jetta, it's unbelievable. The Rams have struggled this year, so even though they do get Puka Nacua, I think he will get maybe a touchdown in his first game back this season, but I think the Vikings are too strong, and they've scored more than 20 points in all of their games, so I have the Vikings winning that.
But I have to ask, at one point, when will Sam Darnold, become back to where he was against the 40, like he was with the Jets or the 49ers?
Yeah. I'm happy you mentioned that. I'm going to say something that I know my one friend didn't like me saying, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to get some mixed reactions here. The Vikings earlier this week actually talked about trading for Matthew Stafford, and I think the Vikings should go out there and get Matthew Stafford. You're going to have him for a year or two. This is one of the best chances to win a Super Bowl. You're 5-1. You have J.J. McCarthy on injury. He's going to learn behind a Super Bowl champion right now. Last time he had a star receiver, this receiver won a Triple Crown. And McCarthy's going to learn behind him. And you mentioned one is Darnold coming back down from, what he's going on. Think about some other backups. Even last year, Dobbs. What do you go? 3-0, and then he fell down. Yeah. Jake Browning, Teddy Bridgewater when he was on the Saints, he won 5-0 as a starter. Signed with the Panthers. Look at him now. He's a backup quarterback for a reason. I hate to say it because he was talented coming out of USC, but it's only a matter of time before this stuff catches up to him. And I think if you're the Vikings, you have to go out there and go get Matthew Stafford. And J.J. McCarthy will be a better quarterback. He might not play next year, but he'll be a better quarterback for the future.
I really like your take, to be honest with you. This Vikings team is really good. I think they're just that one quarterback away from being a serious Super Bowl contender. And I agree with you. If you get, you also found out, the Rams are considering about trading Cooper Kupp. If Cooper Kupp leaves, then I just think Matthew Stafford is next. So, if that happens, then I just think the Vikings should go all in to get Matthew Stafford, even if it's on a one-year rental. He can learn, J.J. McCarthy can learn under him, and then it just makes the team much better. And I feel like Matthew Stafford can build the chemistry he built with Cooper Kupp with Justin Jefferson. So I really like your take.
One more thing. The offensive coordinator for the Rams when they won the Super Bowl was Kevin O'Connell.
It was.
Ooh.
Yeah.
He's the Vikings head coach right now. Yeah. So this is making too much sense. I think the Vikings have to go out there and just get that guy to make him compete for a Super Bowl because I don't know if Sam Darnold can do it. I really don't.
I think he will regress at some point. It's gonna. I hope it doesn't happen, but I think it will happen at some point.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Any final thoughts on football?
No, just excited for tomorrow.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching 360 Sports. Make sure to tune in tomorrow for the F1 show, and we'll see you then.